Hello guys, good day. This is Anne of Reinforce Big Love, your fellow positive reinforcer. Today we're going to talk about why weaknesses are your greatest assets. Harnessing the power of your bad side. Look, whenever we make mistakes, we fall short. Sometimes we feel embarrassed. We feel ashamed about, being caught red-handed, doing the wrong thing. And at some point, we throw away the blame to other people, to the situation, to the government, other than ourselves, leading to not learning anything at all. Bad side, our imperfections are essential because, we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. Our flaws create the balance. It strikes the balance, making our strength shines better. And look, if we just look at try to look at our mistakes and learn from it, there's actually a silver lining out of it, a golden lesson, which, we can give ourselves an opportunity to grow and to prevent the same mistakes to happen again, as well as to get better in time. And another thing about being imperfect is that we become authentic. Flaws make us real, make us a lot more human than what we see around in the social media circulating. The ideal body, but you don't know if that's even real. Sometimes it's just AI. Well, we no idea. But when you meet the person, somebody perfect, rich, having an ideal body, wealthy, but when you meet them in person, that would be a different story. And seeing their imperfections make them more human, wherein you could actually connect to these people in person. Our mistakes and the moment wherein we learn something from it, and we become resilient every time we fall, makes us much unique and interesting. Those part of our stories wherein we make mistakes, we learn from it, we change, we discover something from ourselves, we did something about our mistakes, and then we succeed. The part wherein we try to really do something right, that's actually the turning point, and that's the most interesting part of every story in our lives. Also, mistakes are learning opportunities. Think about it. If everything is easy, we wouldn't develop any higher or same level of wisdom, grit, and patience. Bad side teaches us the most important lessons. That is why, even to myself, though, when I make mistakes, it's actually terrible. Initially, I would deny it, but I wouldn't say it as much as possible. I just keep it to myself. What is happening? This is not. This is not for me. But eventually, after a few seconds or a minute, wherein everything actually sinks in, you know what? I'm part of this. Even so, I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect person wherein I could actually flip the switch. It takes time for me to really overcome those times wherein I make mistakes and learn something out of it. But the good thing about it is that I have discovered that, owning my mistakes helps me accept and value, and love and value myself more. I become patient to myself, leading to, I'll be also patient to other people. So what I give to myself, I give it to other people. And, being imperfect actually gives us an opportunity to create and innovate. That's one way to take advantage of our mistakes. Making a mistake is actually a breakthrough, a breakthrough opportunity, other than seeing it as a weakness. taking it, acknowledging it as it is, opens up a new way for us to think or do things differently. I mean, in such a way, we improve our behavior, we improve our thinking. Sometimes when this thing doesn't work for you, we try to innovate or create something, another thing, which is comfortable for us, which is, we feel good about doing it, but having the same results. Not necessarily that I'm talking about the kind of innovation in technology wise, but yeah, it's almost the same thing. We cannot create anything powerful. We cannot move mountains, even, create such technology without making mistakes. Of course, we do things, trial and error, document them up to the point that we can create some kind of masterpiece, which is actually useful for us. And that is what we observe nowadays. We got internet, and then people are creating loads of new things. Even to the point that we're getting confused nowadays. What is really real? Which is real? And another thing, another good thing about being imperfect is that it actually helps us examine ourselves. We become self-aware, giving us an opportunity to improve ourselves after being aware and owning our mistakes, in which, growth happens. But it's not an easy journey. Whenever we fail, we get hurt. Whenever we make mistakes, we get hurt. We hurt other people. But it's a process. And that process helps us become much resilient, much humane, much humble, empathetic along the way. Before, I could relate to this because when I was younger, I don't want to take the blame. I would say anything to really throw away the blame from me to other stuff, other people, the weather, the time, the printer, the computer, the alarm clock, anything away from me, because I don't want to feel embarrassed. And as a result to that, people are more, upset about me being that kind of person. Other than that, having those shitty relationship, the way I treat people, I didn't learn anything at all. And then that made me hated myself before my situation. And to the point that I couldn't take it anymore. I feel disgusted, broke. Then that situation helped me open up my eyes about me, my contribution to my own welfare, well-being. Our bad side will always going to bring us down so that we can remind ourselves to be humble. Recognizing our mistakes helps foster empathy to others, as you recognize that no one is ever immune to all sorts of struggles. Even the rich people, they're not exempted from any disappointments, mistakes, failures. Everybody has problem, or even with S, problems. And lastly, being imperfect makes each one of us much relatable. Now let me explain. When we embrace our flaws, we can easily connect to others. And, it makes us much open to other people, wherein anybody could also connect to us. People connect with those who show, to those people who shows their vulnerabilities, leading to trust and deeper relationship. And that is human connection. It's actually hard to relate or even connect to someone who thinks he's always right. He didn't do anything wrong. It's hard to live with people like that. So that's how it is when you own your contribution to your own welfare. That means, self-awareness about your actions, behaviors, your errors. You want to improve. So people would be happy enough to help you with that. People would be happy enough to embrace you as you are. Because that means that when you embrace your imperfection, you are authentic. You are who you are, and nobody has ever been the same since you were born, or even for more generations to come. Nobody will ever be going to be like you. So that's how it is when you love yourself, when you accept yourself. Part of it is being patient to your shortcomings. Face it, and somehow, at all cost, make it right, whatever it takes. And in that way, you can be more humble and empathetic to others. And in that way, you can invent new ways which works for you, wherein in those ways you can be a good person, because it's from you. So I hope I've conveyed a wonderful message today. And if you ever love this episode, you can share this to your family and friends. You can follow me in YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, even in Twitter, X. Reinforce Me Club. By the way, this is Ann, your fellow positive reinforcer. I do appreciate your time, and have a lovely day ahead. Thank you.